Come join us. Hey. All right, you guys. I'm here with Coach Janice Carter. Hey, Janice.
So fun to be here live
and in
person.
This is so good. I love it. This is the best part, right? Is like we do so much. We see each other
online
every day. Every day we're hanging out together, and that's what we're going to talk to you guys about today. But like every day, I literally start my day with Janice every morning. Every morning we're together, and now we were just meeting in person. I was like, hey, I'm going live. We should go live together. This is so great.
Amazing.
The more energy, the better, right? And if you like this, and we'll talk about this after, but Janice and I are actually going to be doing a workshop next week. You can actually join us for a couple days, but we'll talk about that after, because we were sitting here and we were talking about our study habits. Okay, so as coaches typically do, we have a question for you, and that is, what do you do? What do you do every day to study to grow yourself? It's a big question, and I don't know about you, but and I know Janice, you resonate with this one too, because like we're bookies. Some people are like, oh, I don't really read. I love to read all the things.
Right there. How many times do you or Dave say, oh yeah, you should read the book? And I'm like, oh, I read it.
Yep. Literally, we were sitting here with Dave. He goes, you should read this book. She's like, I actually have it. Maybe I should bring it out again. Or,
I already
read that. I already read it. You're like queen. I've read all the books. But what's the difference between reading them the way we used to do it and what we do now?
Night and day. Huge difference.
Huge. So before we get into what we do now, ask yourself, I want you to grab a pen. I want you to write it down. What do you do every day? Not only Monday through Friday, not I take stat holidays off, not any of that. What do you do every day to move your needle forward? And I very much, and I again, because I like lived this, our society is very much in love with, well, obviously you go to school, get in the school system around 4 years old, and then you stay in it till about 24. And you just keep, because that's just what we do, right? Like, even if you're like, oh, I'm going to get into a trade, or I'm going to get into whatever, like, you're going to school, right? And you get into it, and then you hit about 25 and you're like, done me some school, got me some education, and now I don't need to do anything. And we stop learning, except for in our jobs. Right. So like I started at the hospital I was a summer student there first. So I technically started working there like 18, but I started like professional, like work there at 22 when I finished university. And the only growth I literally did after that was like skilling up on my jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you do like, and maybe I would read, but I mean, you're like a literature. So you were reading like the personal development books, but what did you do with a personal development book?
Well, and that's why this is all different. I know we're going to get into it later, but I am a speed reader. Yep. So I used to just crank through books, read, but I didn't apply them. Mm-hmm. I would just read them.
Right.
And as fast as I could, because I love reading.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we are in the habit of like reading, and even I would get the books. Maybe I'd read like a couple, and I'd be like, oh, I just can't get into this book. Well, it's because I wasn't even open to applying it. Okay. So what does that look like for you? Okay. And again, you're not going to get any judgment from us if you're just like, ooh, that's me, I speed read, or that's me, I pick a book up and I read part of it and I don't, or I read the whole thing and I don't do shit with it. Like that's me. Totally get it. You know what? 98% of humans are like that. That's actually the way we're programmed to be. Like, or I used to say to myself, like, oh, I haven't read since university. Like, because I read so much, like all the textbooks and all the things, that I then couldn't like get past anything else. Right. It was just, I couldn't get into anything else. So I want you to acknowledge, you have to know where you are. Okay. But I want you to ask yourself, like, even if you're reading all the things, are you reading just to read? Just to say, oh, I read that? Because I talk to a lot of people, I'm sure you do too. Do you find you talk to a lot of people that are like, just like you, who are like, oh, I've read that book. I've read that book. Like they're reading just to read, just to say that they, oh, I listened to this podcast or this podcast that I'm following right now, or this whatever, like course that I'm taking, or right. I mean, are you doing that? Are you reading just to read? Okay. Or even I was talking to somebody, I've actually talked to a few people. I've said it probably, I've heard it probably 5 times just this week, and it's only Thursday. Oh, Dylan, I'll pray on it.
I know how much you love that.
I'll pray on it. I'll pray on it. And I have nothing against praying, right? Prayer, gratitude, meditation, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. Okay. It's all the same thing. I have nothing against, but it's typically when people turn to prayer, and maybe this isn't you, but we'll cover the second people that turn to prayer. It's in a state of, I need the answer right now. Like, God, give me the answer, make me healthier, heal this person, or give me the answer to this, or give me the money, or help me get this job, or help me in this relationship, or help. And we go in a state of like anxiousness. Okay. And we forget totally, or maybe you're like, no, I'm not in a state of anxiousness. I do it every day. Like before I go to bed every night, I pray. And again, what you might not call it prayer, you might call it meditation, you might call it what, like reflection, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. Okay. But are you treating it like a two-way communication? Are you treating it like you're not just going, please, or, hey, it's kind of like a journal. Okay. Same thing. Are you treating your journal like a two-way piece of communication? Because when you start treating it like a relationship, like a two-way correspondence, that's when it actually works. That's when it works. That's when your God, source, energy, universe, infinite intelligence, again, whatever you want to call it, will communicate back with you. Because it's not meant to be a one-way relationship. And when you get in the habit of doing things like study, so much of that communication back will come through your study. Like even I was saying to Janice, like this whole, like, I'll pray on it thing. I've been given this message to give to you all week. And it's because people have been saying it to me. And then the other day in study club, we were in study clubs, we study together every morning. Someone said it and I went off on this like tangent about it, but the tangent was very intentional. And there was a lot of people that came out of it going, oh, okay, now I like that makes more sense. And I came out of it going, oh, okay, now I have some clearer thoughts about it. But if I didn't give myself permission to have that two-way communication, and it comes through your study via your intuition. Okay. Like your intuition is the ear to your soul. Like it's your soul speaking. Like when you pray or you meditate, you're speaking to your source, your infinite intelligence. And when you study and journal and follow your intuition, like actually it's your source talking back. So like, do you have a space where you allow for that to happen? And if you're just taking in information just to take in information, like, oh, I read the book. Well, that's one way. You read the book. You listened to the podcast. You're listening to us right now. But it's one way. It's not reciprocal. It's not like there's no room for the source to come then talk through and communicate back to you. Right. So when Dylan, I'll pray on it. I already know they're going, tell me the answer, tell me the answer. And then they don't listen for the answer. They don't feel the answer. They don't give space to experience the answer, because you'll be given the answer sometime, like a lot. For me now, it's like, boom, boom, here's the answer. Here's the answer. And then it's like, then it's up to me to execute the answer. But like, what does that look like? That one personally just drives me bonkers.
Well, and to me, I think it depends how you're defining praying on it. Because I agree with what you're saying. But to me, when I pray in a way that I'm assuming that God's giving me the answer and that it's a conversation.
Right.
I'm not begging and pleading or anything. It's more, I will say, for example, do a journal sort of prayer where it'll be at the top of the page. All right. Okay, God, I am trying to figure out XYZ.
Yep.
I'll ask a question.
Yes.
And I'll assume I'm going to get the answer.
That's right.
Sometimes in that moment, I will write out the answer.
Yep.
And I know it's from God. It's not me writing it.
Yep.
Which I know sounds a little bit weird, but I can tell that it's God answering me. It's not me writing it.
That's right.
Or other times I write it at the top of the page and nothing happens. But through the day, I'll just reaffirm, well, God's going to give me the answer.
That's right.
Like I asked, it's going to happen. And then something will pop. Maybe it'll be a conversation with you. Maybe it'll be something I read. Maybe it will be an experience, but it'll come.
That's right. That's right. And I love that, because you're giving the space to do it. Right. So I want you to, and again, don't check out on us just because we said God. You might call it something else. Doesn't matter. Source, energy, creator, infinite intelligence, whatever you want it. Okay. But this is where you have to create that space. And honestly, and so many people, like, we talk a lot here about journaling, right? Well, Janice just mentioned journaling. Are you journaling, asking a question, and then it being just that knowingness, right? So we also talk about how we have our five senses, but your sixth sense is your knowingness. That, like, you just know, like, Janice knows, like she knows that she's going to get the answer. And again, it can come really fast. Typically, I don't know about you, typically for me, it comes within 24 hours. Sometimes it comes in the middle of the night.
Those are the worst.
Oh,
2:30 a.m.
I know. I'm like, I just got up to go pee. I don't need to be thinking about all of this stuff right now. But like, the answer comes to me, and it's crazy. Like, it's crazy awesome, because at least you never have to worry about being stuck, which is a really, really nice piece. So I think you mentioned a key part there is when you're showing up to study. So we call it study club, but it's not like we're going back to school. We've already done enough of that education system. We're not doing that anymore. This study is, we're studying ourselves. We study the universe. We study our place in the universe, and asking lots of questions. So are you studying to understand? So what are some of the things that you've done to now switch going, well, I've read that book. What do you do now to like switch it into like study?
Right. So I reread the same thing over and over and over. Say, for example, this week, I've been reading the same paragraph. Oh, I know this sounds ridiculous.
No,
but I used to burn through books. It's like, how many have I crushed this week? I now might spend 2 weeks on one paragraph, and I'll reread it, make some notes about what insights I've had. And confession, I used to read books, and especially self-help books, and put other people's names in the margins. It's like, so-and-so, 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 which, newsflash, it's not a great way to do books. I see the error of my ways. And so now I have a new rule where it's like, Janice, you're not allowed to write anybody's name in the margin. As you read this, you have to think about how it applies to you. So right now I'm reading the same paragraph over and over, and then I'll journal on how this applies to my life today.
Yep.
And how am I going to use this information to grow?
Yep.
And specifically, what action, this is the huge part, what action am I going to take today
Yep.
to apply it, as opposed to previously I would hoard knowledge. I would just read,
Right.
read.
Yep.
And now it's, okay, what action am I maybe going to teach this concept to my kids?
Yep.
Or am I going to make a project based around this? Or is it going to be simply, I recognize that I was looking at things from the wrong perspective, so in everything I do today, I'm going to look at it from this other perspective. I would actually consider that action.
Yep.
Even though it's not tangible.
Yep.
But that's a form of action. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, I'm applying this by, I can't think of something.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah. No. And there's certain things that it's like you want to take action on, like it's a physical thing, but it allows you, at least if you're giving yourself time to reflect, then you'll know what space it's supposed to play in your life. And and we do a lot of studying of fear in itself. And Janice and I we'll touch on fear next week in our workshop. But we study it because there's so many things that'll be given to us that we then don't do anything with, just purely because of fear, or we're not in the habit of doing something with. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you can get in the habit of saying, okay, this was given to me for a reason, how am I going to apply it? And what's that going to look like? And I love too, that you pointed out that it's like, you read something every day. So are you in the habit of taking in information outside of work, like outside of your job? Okay. Taking in information for you, that's being given to you direct from the source. Okay. And like, what does that look like? What does that look like for you? And you just pointed out, like, Janice and I are doing like higher level study, but I mean, in Pursuit Mastermind, but like, we are like, sometimes it's taking the same paragraph, because it will mean something different to you on Monday than it does on Tuesday, than it does on Friday, than it does the following Monday. That used to seem like insanity to me. Like, who the hell would read the same book over and over again, let alone the same paragraph every day for 2 weeks, right? But this is where it's like, there's so much power in doing this. And I think another key piece that I want to emphasize is being in the environment of people that get it. Like, the only reason we didn't do that before was because we weren't in the environment of people. Like, when I was in school, we read a book, we did the report, you submit the report, you get the grade, you go, and then you move on, right? And there's not necessarily any awareness that comes from it. And this is where it's like, this studying of yourself, because you are constantly meant to grow and evolve as a human. And it's like, if you can keep like getting yourself in the environment of other growth-minded people, then it's like you win.
And I feel like it's contagious.
100%.
It really
is. It really is. So what would you say the biggest shift for you is in even being in the environment?
I find being in the environment helps me create consistency, because I think it's not just me, where it's common for people to, start a habit and you're really into it, and then you just completely drop it. Like, how many people have decided, oh, I'm going to start running, and you're so great, you're so committed, and then you completely drop it.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
And I feel like without the structure of study club, I would probably be like, I got to study every day. And I do it for a while, and then I would just stop doing it.
Yep.
Right. But because of the environment, when I know you're going to be there every morning, a whole bunch of other people are going to be there every morning, and I still don't love getting up early. Still don't. But I know that people are there, and I want to participate because I find I learn so much more when I tell you, oh, this is what I'm learning today, and explaining it to the group. It reaches a deeper level than it does when I'm just reading by myself. I still read by myself, obviously, but to actually have a conversation about it. And then what I find really fascinating about our study group is that there always seems to be a theme. So I'll maybe be reading something about intuition, for example. And I won't know what anyone else is studying or what insights they're going to have. And it will be, oh, the next person who shares a story about intuition. And then so does the next person. And so does the next person. And then all of a sudden you get this larger context of that exact same topic, but maybe from 5 to 6 different people, which makes it a far more interesting experience than just me studying a topic.
And doesn't it blow your mind that like some of us have been like literally studying together every day for years, and it's like, how do we still have, like, that's the number one question I get is like, how do you still have stuff to talk about? And it's like, but I'm not the same person I was last week, last month, let alone 2 years ago. And so, and same with you, same with everybody else that we study with, and even new people that are coming in. It's like, once you get into the habit of and truly making, my favorite part about study is it's like, out of all the hats that I wear, it's the one that's like for me. It's for me. And it's like, and I'm like, I don't study for my kids. I don't study for my husband. I don't study for my clients. I don't study for my family. I study for me. And guess what? They then get to reap the benefits of it. Right? Like Dave now studies every morning. Like he does his own study because he's like, he's seen what it's done to me over the years. He's just like, you're like a whole new person. You're like calm, cool, and collected. And like the things you used to lose it over, like you don't anymore. Like you're definitely responding, not reacting. And your parenting, like it impacts every aspect of your life. Just giving to yourself for 1 hour every morning. Just me. And if I have to get up an hour earlier just to do that, so be it. Right. So then you just get into the habit, and then you're hanging out with the same people. And it's just like any community you've ever belonged to where it's like everybody goes and you have a good time. And sometimes we're crying because we're laughing so hard. And sometimes we're crying because we're all just crying that day. And that's okay. It's like just such a safe space to just be and do and express yourself and to grow. And just know that you're not going to say anything wrong. It's just, but if you say something that it's like, oh yeah, no, that's like not serving you, someone's going to call you out on it, which is, we all get called out at some point all the time. And it's just okay. And it's awesome. So another question, because that's what we do. Are you in the environment that is like your environment's everything? Are you in the environment right now that's helping you move the needle forward? Or is it an environment that's reinforcing you staying in Groundhog Day every day? Right? Where you wake up next, I still wake up next to the same person, but you're waking up next to the same person, you're going to the same job, you're, taking care of the same kids, and then you like rinse, repeat, and do it all over again. Maybe every once in a while you'll take a vacation to vacate your life and, whatever, but you're just like doing those things, right? And are you, in an environment that's actually where you can see that, holy crap, I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. I'm not the same person I was 6 weeks ago. And that's really important. So so our study habits are pretty much, we just mentioned them to you. So like we wake up every morning, there's like 4 different study clubs, like starting at 6 a.m. that we can join. And we do that. We study ourselves, and then we come together and we study together, and we do it 7 days a week. And, every once in a while you might miss one or you might whatever, but it's just like, that's just the way it is. And that's okay. but it's like you're in the habit of growing yourself and moving yourself forward every single day, and it's building out those habits. And I think that's been really, really key. And again, there's no right or wrong way to study. There's no right or, as long as you're doing it and you can see the needle being moved forward, that you have a goal every day that you're working towards, that you set an intention every day and you can reflect on it every night. If you're going, okay, I don't have that. I want to come hang out with Dylan and Janice every day. Join us in the 2% Club. We're called the 2% Club because literally 98% of humans are not doing this, which is why only 2% of humans are getting all the results like that are moving humanity forward, right? So come be part of the 2% Club. We'll put a link for more information in the chat so you can have a look. And also, Janice and I next Wednesday and Thursday are doing a free workshop specifically on visualization, because it is like one of the key elements to getting anything that you want in life. So if you want to get anything you want in life and you want to learn how to do it, come hang out with us at 11 a.m. Eastern next Wednesday and Thursday. And if you can't, again, we'll put the link to register in the chat. If you can't come live, if you're like, oh, I'm gone or I'm working or whatever, that's okay. Register and you'll get the replays. If you don't register, it's not live on Facebook and Instagram or YouTube. It's only in Zoom, and you only get the replays if you register. Okay. So this workshop can literally change your life.
Absolutely. I just like the peanut gallery here.
What she said.
Yeah, I agree with what you said.
Yep.
Oh, I do want to add though.
Yep.
I think if you're the type of person who has goals, but you're that person that I used to be, I say this because I was you, where it's you write a goal down in January specifically, and then by say March, if I'm honest, for me it was probably February. If someone said what goal did you write down in January, Janice, I flat out don't even remember, which is why visualization is so important, because it hardwires your goal into your brain so deeply that you're thinking about it as you're eating lunch. You're thinking about it as you're drifting off to sleep. You're thinking about it first thing when you wake up in the morning. That is the power of visualization. It's going to make your goals reality a whole lot faster than just writing it on a piece of paper and hoping that it's going to happen.
Yep. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it sticks. You don't have to do that. You can and it helps things happen quickly. Like so many people are like, oh, I've done that. And we'll talk about why we stopped doing it. It didn't happen. I guess it's just not for me. No, if you're a human, that means you have a human mind, and it means that you think in pictures, and we'll talk all about this next week. And it means that you can do a visualization, and we'll teach you how to do it, how to harness, because you're thinking in pictures anyways. We're going to teach you how to harness it, and so that you don't forget about all your goals.
And you don't have to be creative. I feel like that's a massive misconception about visualization, is that you have to be creative. You do not.
Well, everybody's creative. You don't have to be like artsy.
They are. Yes.
Yeah. You don't. Yes. Yeah. I used to think I wasn't creative because I'm like, I can't paint. I can't sing. I draw stick people. Like, I'm not creative. Everybody's creative. You don't need to be, I guess artsy is even a word.
I like that word.
I like that word too. You don't need to. So if you want to just start getting everything you want in life, come join us next week. And we're going to tell you how to get it. Because it's easy. It gets to be really easy. If you have any questions about this, if you're watching the replay, put them in the chat, and Janice and I will 100% get back to you. Deal? See you guys next week.
Bye.